Okay, so it looks like we are live. We're going to quick kind of test stream tonight. Just got some new webcam equipment and the mic. We're going to test these out, make sure they're working good for you guys. So if you're just getting in or if you're watching this back, you can leave a comment down below. Or if you're watching it live, put a comment in the chat on how the audio and things like that sound for you guys. Looks pretty decent. I want to start doing live streams more often. If I feel or if I sound kind of rough, I am a little bit under the weather, but hopefully it's not COVID or anything like that. But looks pretty decent, a bit grainy where it gets darker on the screen, but hopefully this goes well and hopefully you guys enjoy this. So this is also like a little Q&A session for you guys. So if there's anything you want to see, we are in the Amphibian room. So this isn't like the ball python room or anything. So this is exclusively in here. We have like frogs, toads, also feeders. So, I mean, millions, not millions, but tens of thousands of roaches, feeder mice. You can probably see some of the little wooden in the tubs. These are all breeder mice that we have in this rack right here. So you guys got any questions, anything like that, you can leave it in the chat. Hopefully this will work. I know we haven't done live streams in a long time, but like 2 years ago, there used to be like a couple minute delay. So hopefully if you guys do leave any comments or anything like that, I'll be able to actually visually see it. But like I said, we are in the Amphibian room. So you guys want to see any frogs, toads, things like that, I can pull them out and show you guys. This is basically, we have it kind of in sections like you can see. We really need to do, people have been asking for a full reptile room tour for a long time now, and I keep saying month after month I'm gonna do it, and it just hasn't happened yet. But this kind of section you guys can't see, but we have a roach rack right there. These are all like southern toads, and we used to have smoked toads, but I moved those on the aisle behind this. And then you walk around, we have different aisles for breeding roaches, like I said, rodents and things like that. And yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty good. It's a bit shaky. I hope this thing isn't gonna fall off. I think this is a Logitech C920X or something like that. So hopefully the visuals look decent for you guys on this. Again, I have no clue. Let me see. Now, the other thing that I'm hoping has worked, and this is again a test, there's two mics that are plugged into the live stream right now. You have the mic on the webcam, and then this should also be picking up. Hopefully, this is dominating, or it's basically, I hope this is what's picking it up and not the mic on there. I did a couple tests earlier today when this new camera first came in, the Logitech, whatever it is, a C920X, whatever, just basic webcam people use for things like Zoom calls, whatever it is. And I don't know if this one was functioning. The mic on that didn't sound too good, so hopefully, if it sounds really grainy, it's probably that mic picking it up, and if it sounds a little bit more clear, it's probably the Yeti going on that. I wish it would let me see on here. This hub is pretty minimal. It doesn't give me like a option for adding different audio that I can at least see. But again, if you guys want to leave in the chat any questions or anything like that, and also visually, how does this look? Unfortunately, my normal camera, which is the Canon SL2, it won't let me live stream from this, or at least I haven't figured out how to do it. So hopefully this webcam lets us start doing live streams on a every 2 to 3 week basis. Maybe 2 times a month we can do a live stream for you guys, because there's so many questions that come in nowadays. When I had a couple hundred subscribers, it was like I could answer all the comments, but now I try to get as many comments as we can, but so many questions on YouTube, on Instagram, things like that, they slip by, they go under the radar, and I miss them. A lot of replies as well, because YouTube doesn't notify me all the time from a reply, only like the first stage comment. So if we can do this on a regular basis, this should be a really good way for you guys to, you have questions about genetics, you have questions about care. It's more of a direct way. It's also a lot less sluggish, a lot more precise than just trying to answer, YouTube comments or Instagram DMs or whatever that is. So we're probably going to have this go for 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not sure if the chat is working. Either nobody's typed anything yet or it just hasn't popped up. Like I said, if you guys are just joining, you want to comment, just make sure the visuals look good. I have to watch it back on YouTube. I haven't really watched it back yet when I did test this morning. So hopefully visually this looks decent. Hopefully this mic is picking it up, and it's not the real scratchy kind of low quality camera on the webcam that's picking it up. But like I said, we're going to let this go probably at least another 10 minutes. I just want to have it. I mean, I want to have a decent feel of what it's going to be like so I can watch it back and see, is it choppy? Do I need to do something with editing or anything like that? I think the goal going forward will be to actually have like topics for this. This is just a random Q&A session. If you guys have any questions, I hope that the chat will be showing up. I can't see it. Normally it'd be right here on the right, but nothing has popped up yet. So I'm not really sure if anybody's not typed anything yet or if it's just not popping up. But I think the goal going forward will be, we can have 1 week we're going to do ball python genetic questions. The next week we're going to do breeding. The next week we're going to talk about the market. The next week we're going to do maybe amphibians, talking about frog breeding and stuff like that, because we have a lot of frogs here right now. I actually have probably twice as many frogs. Actually, no, I have more than that, easily twice as many frogs as we do things like ball pythons. And for anybody that knows about amphibian breeding, it's really, I'm just getting into breeding frogs, and it's a challenge. It's, with ball pythons, you normally have, you have one male, one female, put them together, get eggs. Frogs don't work like that. You have to have like 15 or 20 adults, put them in a rain chamber, a big rain chamber, and maybe you get lucky and you get a spawn, maybe you don't. So we have about, in this room alone and some of the other animals we have downstairs, we have like, I think almost close to 100 tree frogs right now, with Pacific tree frogs or Sierra and chorus frogs, whatever you want to call them, and Cuban tree frogs, things like that. And then with toads, there's probably at least 25 southern toads here, and there's another 10 or 20 that are, again, downstairs. We keep some of the animals downstairs, just easier to clean them and maintenance and things like that. So, again, I don't know if the chat's not working or if nobody's typing anything. If you guys are watching this, let me know what you guys are seeing. Does it look good visually? Are we choppy? Is this mic sounding good? If it's even working at all? I really wish it would let me see, what we're actually using for the mic, but I can't going through these settings. I don't see any option to tell me whatever mic is picking it up. So we'll just have to see and kind of see what goes as far as that's concerned. But visually this looks decent. For a $50 camera, definitely, it looks decent to me, at least. We'll have to watch it back. Maybe it's all grainy after it gets processed through YouTube. I don't know. But, again, I probably, with the next stream, will probably do it in the ball python room, because I know most of the people that are watching this channel, that subscribe to the channel, are here for ball pythons. I'm starting to do more and more stuff with frogs and things like that, but the main thing that brought most people here was ball pythons. So probably we're going to do a stream, if this goes well, in about 2 weeks. We'll be in the ball python room. We can show you guys babies that are coming out. I have some really cool coral gold crystal stuff that just hatched with like a enchi and things like that. I think we have coral glow crystal enchi. I think that just popped out of the latest clutch. Shatters coming up. A couple more shatter clutches going in. Coral glow with chocolate. Lots of cool things. I'm holding back a lot of babies this year as well. I know some people have been seeing that we're starting to do frogs and stuff, and they're like, oh, are you getting out of ball pythons or something? And it's like, we're holding back, I think, 4 or 5 times as many ball pythons this year than we have for the past couple years. So certainly we're not getting out of ball pythons or anything like that. Ball pythons are fantastic. They're what got me into breeding reptiles and what got a lot of people into the reptile hobby as well. So again, probably going to end the stream within a minute or two. I don't know if the chat's not working or if anybody hasn't typed in the chat. If you're watching it currently, if you just type something, I don't care if it's just a +1, whatever, so I can actually see if this is working, because I'm not getting any response on this. Yeah, I don't. Oh, wow. Okay, what is this? Okay, I just got it to pop up. So ZD Exotics left some comments. A couple other people. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I can see. Yeah, we have to play around with this. This is what we're doing a test, because I guess I have to scroll down this and click something about it's cut off. I can't even read it. It says something about being visual. But I can see that you guys are on here. Cool. The audio is looking good. Good evening. Sounds good. Perfect. That's what I wanted to. And sounding crisp for me. That's what I hope. Hopefully this is picking it up, because I played the webcam audio earlier and it didn't sound any good at all. It was really scratchy and things like that. So for you guys that are watching, again, I don't know if it's letting me, looks like we have 3 people watching currently. If you guys have any topics for future live streams that you want me to do, you can leave it right here, and I can leave a note when I watch back. Certainly, I know a lot of people are watching this for ball pythons, so we can do like genetics. We can talk about breeding, the future of the market. oversaturation, whatever you guys want. And these live streams, I don't want to keep them real long, like hours long, but if we can do, half an hour, 45 minutes here or there, Q&As and open discussions, I think this will be really good. And hopefully you guys aren't getting the fan. It's really hot in here. It's like 82.4 degrees or whatever the little thing, you can barely see it up there, says. We have a fan right now trying to blow the air. I don't like the amphibians to get above about 82. We don't keep anything in this room that is like cool. Axolotls would, or any sort of amphibian that likes the cool would heat stroke in about 10 minutes in this room. It's just hot, stagnant air. So I have some ventilation fans running to kind of cool things down. I normally do that around this time, 7, 8 at night, whatever it is. Plans for future videos. Yeah, I know, ZD Exotic, you've been asking me for a reptile room tour for a long time. This is a little bit. I mean, you can kind of see these are all southern toads. I used to have some oak toads back here, but I put them in the aisle behind here. You can just barely see. These are all mice. So you can see I have the little wood and then the tub. I can actually show you guys. We can grab some mice. I haven't cleaned them a little bit, but there we go. Yeah, I just got some. We just got some new babies actually about a couple hours ago. So you can see this little. We can see if the camera will focus. If I get out of it. Yep, cute little pinkies. So the mice breeding is going good. The only problem with breeding the mice in this room, the camera will focus back. Nope, I've completely knocked it out now. But the only thing with breeding mice in this room and rats as well is the smell. I don't have like a, the proper way to do it is you'd have some sort of ventilation fan or circulation fan built into the wall. I'm trying to get this thing to focus back on me. And it looks like I've knocked this thing completely out of focus. But normally the way you want to do it, if you're breeding rodents, is you put some sort of ventilation fan on the wall. I don't have that, so sometimes we pop open the windows and we take one of the little, circulation fans and we'll push it out to get the smell out of here. But when I had like 200 rodents in here with mice and rats, it was like burning your lungs bad as far as the smell goes. And part of it is the smell. Part of it is the male scent. Mice smell a lot worse than rats. For anybody that watches it that breeds them, you guys will know. For whatever reason, the mouse scent the males put out is pretty horrific. And if you have 200 in a not very well ventilated room, it'll burn your lungs. So this is we actually don't have this whole rack is not full right now. The only time it ever gets full is like when we don't have baby ball pythons, we're selling rodents and stuff like that. But right now, I mean, everything that we're producing is getting fed off pretty quickly. And I don't know what I've done to this camera. I tried to show you guys the pinky and it completely knocked this thing off. Yeah, so see, that's why we're doing this audio test. I'm trying to get it to refocus. I'll have to Google it to see if there's a better way to do this. This is a new camera. I'm just playing with this. It's Logitech, whatever it is. But I can't seem to get this thing to refocus. No, it's not going to do it. So I've knocked the focus off. So I'll know that I can't put anything really close to the camera in the future. Yeah, I miss breeding mice. The smell was too much, though. Yeah, ASFs are superior for mice, reptile food and breeding from my experience. The ASFs, I've seen a couple. I don't remember what I haven't had enough experience with them to know what the smell is like. I just know that mice are a lot more powerful than rats. And I would assume, I think I've heard the ASFs are kind of closer to rats. The mice, just the scent from the males is what really, it's horrific. Like when I had 200 in here, I was like, man, I'm going to fry my lungs if we don't get these. So I sold a bunch, fed a bunch off, and now we just have probably, 6 or 8 cages that are actually breeding. The rest of these are all empty. They're just for grow outs and things like that. And we're trying to get bigger size for mice. And plans for future videos, I know you're asking about that. We're going to try to get a full reptile room tour soon. Like I said, if the camera would focus, I'm going to have to figure out how to do this when we end the live stream, because I don't know what is wrong with this thing. It does not want to focus on me at all. But you can kind of see this is the amphibian breeding room. Most of the videos that we do are in like the ball python room. We're certainly going to start doing more videos in here as we start doing more videos on frogs and frog breeding and care and things like that. Yeah, the ASF smell is nothing compared to mice. And I think you meant rats. Yeah. The only thing with ASFs is I've had a really hard time getting them, and I think I don't think the genetics are really open, because the ones that I have, the people that I've talked to that have ASFs, it's like they're either as tame as mice, just tame as can be, or they're evil little things. Like I know somebody that lives probably about half an hour away. He used to have a pretty big colony of ASFs, and he got rid of them probably 3 years ago because he was breeding them, and he said just every time you pull them out, trying to bite you, just really nasty. I think eating babies is another big problem with some of the lines, but I think it's because the genetics are really closed off. I mean, it's not like mice and rats are really outcrossed anyways. They are highly inbred, but there's not that many people working with them compared to the huge labs that breed mice and rats. So I think you have some lines that are good, some lines that just, really not so good. I'd like to get into them at some point. The only other thing that I fear is that I've heard lots of people have stories and things where you feed one to a ball python and they're never taking a rat or mouse again. It's kind of the same thing with mice. I don't like to start ball pythons off on mice if I can help it, because sometimes they'll get stuck on mice and you have to try to scent them to get the rats to go, and it's just a pain. But sometimes you have to start with mice because rats are just too lethargic live. The fuzzies, they just don't move around. The mice kind of, get their system going. It really triggers their senses better. Plus, they have some fur. So, yeah, first generation ones were mean, but the first generation ones I held back were able to be tamed. Yeah, that's very good. I think that's what I would have to do is probably just outcross, selectively almost line breed, like you'd line breed for a morph, but you're line breeding for personality. Ones that just don't. I've heard really bad things about. You have an African software colony and you just can't get any viable ones because they eat too many babies. And the mean thing is that as well. They're just really bitey. And I think it's, again, we have inbred and almost domesticated a lot of the rats and mice. The genetics of a captive mouse or rat are not the same as the wild ones, whereas the African soft furs are more new. I think if you were going to release them to the wild and if you were going to look at their genetics, they're a lot closer. So they have lots of those kind of traits that you would expect from a wild rat or mouse if you just caught them and started breeding them in captivity. And again, this is going to annoy the crap out of me. I have no clue why this thing won't focus. I showed you guys a pinky and it completely knocked this off. But yeah, rodent breeding is the big thing is just ventilation, because people, you don't want to fry your lungs. It's one thing to save money. You want to save money breeding rodents, because certainly when you have lots of snakes, it can get costly, but you don't want to be frying your lungs to do it. And that's, some people, they think, oh, I'm going to breed hundreds of rats and mice in a small bedroom. And it's like, you better have a big chunk of that window cut out with a ventilation fan, because if you don't, it's really bad for your health. And some people even get allergic to the rodents. I haven't had that happen, and I've been working with rodents for a long time, but I did a video a while back. I don't know if everyone I don't think it got too many views, but I talked about the different problems with feeder allergies. People are breeding feeders, and ventilation is just key, guys, because you don't want to have a situation where you get allergic to dubia roaches or allergic to mealworms or rats and mice, whatever. I know some people that used to breed ball pythons and they bred their own rats and stuff, and their immune system, just over time, it almost builds up an allergy, and now they're deathly allergic to mice and rats. They can't even get live. They have to go frozen thawed, or they don't have an option. So lots of people are limited in what they can keep if you have an allergy. You're not keeping ball pythons and hognose snakes and some of the other picky feeders if you can only feed live, and frozen thawed isn't an option for you. But again, we're probably going to end the live stream within a minute or so, just trying to kind of get a feel for this. I haven't done live streams in over 2 years, and I'm thinking every 2, maybe 3 weeks, we can start doing these more often. I am sick, like I said, so if my voice sounds a little bit off, it's me. It's not the camera. But sort of get off topic, but have you been trying out herping much lately? Yeah, herping is big. I'm actually, in about a couple weeks, I'm going to be going down south. I'm not going to say exactly what state, but we are going to be going down south. We're going to be herping for a lot of amphibians and reptiles, specifically oak toads, southern toads are big on my list. Green tree frogs and stuff. Also, some of the big salamanders they have down south. So things like, the sirens, like greater sirens and stuff. The amphumas, the ones that, people think of amphibians most of the time. If you're thinking about a bad amphibian bite, people think about like a pixie frog. They have these massive salamanders down south, like North Carolina to Florida, called amphumas. And if you get bit by one of those, they're like 3.5, 4 foot long. They bite and they like roll kind of, and they would just tear you up. You're going to need stitches. So if we could find some of those, that would be really cool. So as far as herping goes, I don't know if I'm going to be doing much more herping here in Ohio, because we've kind of, died down. The gray tree frogs have stopped breeding. Same thing with the toads. Spring peepers and western coarse frogs are long gone as far as calling and breeding goes. I do find garter snakes and stuff occasionally, but yeah, in about 2 to 3 weeks, expect to see some really cool videos down south looking for oak toads and southern toads and, all your standard stuff, corn snakes, racers, things like that. I haven't been down south in a while, so we're going to have some really cool herping videos coming out like that. We used to do a lot more herping videos years ago, but I think as the channel has moved more and more towards the breeding aspect of things and genetics, I've kind of moved away from those, but certainly I have some more videos coming out. I always like herping, and I even like, if it's legal in the state that I'm going, I like to actually herp, and if I'm looking for a species like oak toads or southern toads, I actually collect them. I think it's much better, I know it's much better to actually get the animals yourself, meaning if you're trying to get like wild-caught southern toads, if you catch them yourself, the mortality rate is much better than if you got them wild-caught, because if they're wild-caught, somebody had to catch them, probably treated them horribly because they're cheap, they've been dehydrated, starved, full of worms. I mean, just completely psychologically screwed. I mean, my mortality rate on some of my toad shipments has been like 70 or 80% over 12 months. Some of it has been good. I have some shipments that are over 12 months have a 0% mortality, but I really, if I can, and if it's legal, I prefer to actually catch some of the animals that I'm actually trying to breed in captivity. Awesome. I've got some herping vids coming out soon with some lifer species. Very cool. I know up in Wisconsin, you guys have a lot of wetlands and stuff like that. Certainly, I remember on Instagram, you used to have some things like green frogs. You just catch, like, I remember ZD Exotic, if anyone's watching this, go check out his channel, has all kinds of cool herping things. You used to have videos where you get like a bucket of green frogs, and it's like, we have green frogs here, but not that many. So up in Wisconsin, you guys have certainly got some really nice wetlands and things like that. I can see it in your videos. I haven't actually been herping up north in a long time, any farther north than Ohio. I've been to Michigan. I've been to some of the further up states up north, and we catch different things like frogs. But for the most part, I normally go to south, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida. These are all places that have some of the animals that I'm really interested in. And the south, just in general, there's more diversity. Like up here in Ohio, we have, you have gray tree frogs. And then if we're going to count coarse frogs, you have spring peepers and western coarse frogs. When you go down south, it's like you have, if we're just talking, the true tree frogs, you have green tree frogs, squirrel tree frogs, Cubans, the barking tree frogs, pine woods tree frogs, all these different kinds of species. And then when you go into the coarse frogs, which are kind of a subclass of tree frogs, you have the southern spring peepers, the Brimley's coarse frog, whatever it is, southern coarse frog, ornate coarse frogs, which are like excellent. They look like basically almost like mini ornate Pac-Man frogs. Not quite as busy on the color, but they're like red and green. It's really pretty, or very pretty and very interesting. Paper, aspen, or coconut. If I had to choose one, I'd go straight aspen. I'm not a big fan of the coconut as far as keeping ball pythons. Coconut. If this thing would focus, this camera's been off since I showed a pinky a little while back. But if we show you guys a standard, southern toad setup, let me actually grab where's a good sized southern toad that you guys will appreciate. Okay, like you can see, hopefully if this thing will, maybe this will get it to refocus. In most of our setups, if it's for amphibians and stuff like that, here's a southern toad. You can see we use the shredded coconut. I've also used the bigger chunks, like the cocoa chunks from, Freedom Breeder or whoever. And they're good. They hold moisture. When I've used those kind of products for ball pythons and stuff, I almost always get scale rot is the big thing. And it's also cost. Lots of people, they're so... the coconut stuff, especially the chunks, is not cheap. And I think lots of people, when they're using that, they're almost hesitant to clean more. But for ball pythons, paper and aspen, I actually use a combination of that. You put the aspen on the bottom, they can burrow into it. It's dry, so it's not going to hold moisture that's going to cause scale rot or anything like that. And then I put the paper on top, so they can choose to sit on top of the paper to kind of stay away from the heat. They can go under the paper and burrow in the aspen. It also helps things be really easy for cleaning. Finally, the camera now focused. But yeah, for me, for ball pythons, a combination of paper and aspen is the way that I've been doing it for years now, and that's probably how I'll be doing it 20 years from now. The coconut stuff is good. It holds moisture good, almost a little bit too good though. And I normally limit my coconut products like Eco Earth and stuff like that to amphibians that are actually going to benefit from being on moist bedding. If you keep things like ball pythons and blood pythons on a moist substrate that's actually wet, and you do that long enough, you're going to get scale rot, you're going to get blister disease, you're going to get these different problems, and it doesn't appeal to me. Obviously, people have been successful with it, but it's just not something that I use, and I've used everything from the bigger chunks of coconut to the finely shredded stuff, cypress mulch, and anything that holds moisture like that. It just doesn't work for ball pythons, at least not for me. Next YouTube vid coming out. We were supposed to have videos coming out last week, but I got sick, so I've been, I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but new videos coming out. Morph Guides. I have a Morph Guide on the black pastel. That should be coming out. I have a video talking about the misidentification of cinnamon and black pastel ball pythons. There's a big problem right now where those genes are actually getting flip-flopped, and it's causing people to have problems with their breeding projects. So we're going to talk about that, and then in the follow-up, so we're going to do 2 videos basically. We're going to have talking about the problems of the misidentification of cinnamons and black pastels, and then in the black pastel morph guide, we're going to talk about how to identify those 2 genes. They're not the same. I know I talked about this in a video about 6 or 8 months ago, and I had some people commenting who thought black pastel and cinnamon were the same gene. It's not a butter or lesser situation, or a coral glow banana. Black pastel and cinnamon are definitely different, so we're going to be doing videos on those. And then again, reptile room tours is a big thing. I haven't showed off the amphibian room at all. We have, literally, when I say 120 to 130 frogs and toads, I'm being dead serious. We have a lot of, you can just see some of the toads right here. We have, probably 80 tree frogs right behind here. You guys can't see, but this goes out. And then behind these racks, there's another aisle, tons of things like that. So, and also more videos on frogs. I'm really hoping that by next season I can have my first spawns of things like Cuban tree frogs and southern toads and Sierra and chorus frogs, so I can start doing some videos on actually breeding, because there's not a lot of good information out right now on breeding frogs, and I think it's holding back the amphibian market big time. You go on YouTube and you can find a million different videos on how to breed ball pythons, but good luck on finding an actual good video on how to breed frogs, and also hormonal breeding and natural breeding. We might talk about that in a future video. I like the paper, but I notice I have to keep changing it once they knock the water bowl over. Yeah, that can be a problem. I use the, I take these, they're 4-inch PVC couplers, and then you take like a 16-ounce deli cup, and you set those in there, and I don't have any problems with them knocking it over. Sometimes they'll sit in the bowl itself, and they'll flood the cage, but I actually don't have too many problems with animals knocking the bowls over. I used to, and I use like the plastic bowls, but I wish I had one in here. I'd show you, but it's a white PVC coupler, and you take a 16-ounce deli cup, set that in there, and I don't really ever have, even my big, 4,000 gram females barely ever knock that over. I don't have anything against the coconut. I know you were asking about that, but it's just, for me, I haven't had good success with it at all. And you might have better success with it if you're using like a freedom breeder, but in the PVC and the melamine, it's too much humidity. It's hard to get a good balance of, not too dry, but not too moist. I like the paper and aspen the best. Love to see the amphibian room tour. Yeah, we're going to be having it come out pretty soon. I was just cleaning. I don't know if you guys can, you can probably see. These aren't real humid, actually. Toads, you don't want to keep them real wet, like in soggy substrate, because that'll give you bacterial infections and things like that. But I just cleaned a lot of these guys. I still have more to do once I end this live stream. And this has gone on for a lot longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be a 5 or 10 minute thing. We're at 28 minutes and 50 seconds as of right now. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this, and hopefully we can start doing more of these in the future. Again, I used to do these, on a pretty consistent basis. I wouldn't always leave them up because sometimes, it'd be real choppy with the audio. But hopefully this new equipment will make it better, and it'll be, more of a crisp experience for you guys. So, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream. I'll have an extra minute or so if anyone has any questions. And again, I don't know if the chat is delayed. I remember when I used to do live streams, it would be like on a 2 or 3 minute delay, like that long. So hopefully I got everyone's questions, things like that. Just a little Q&A session for you guys. And again, I'll give one more minute just to see if any other questions or comments pop up. We're going to have more videos out. I've just been sick. Hopefully it's not COVID or anything like that. I don't think it is. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot more videos coming out, and in 2 or 3 weeks, when I go down south and we do some herping, definitely gonna have some videos herping some of the game lands and stuff down south on the coast specifically. Oak toads. When I was there last time, oak toads were everywhere. Didn't see too many southern toads, but also pygmy rattlesnakes, things like that. All of those should be coming on an upcoming video within about 2 or 3 weeks. What's good, LKB Pythons? Long time. I remember LKB Pythons when we used to do live streams like 2 years ago. You'd be one of the biggest commenters to be coming on. So this is kind of a callback, if you will, because I remember lots of you guys have been watching this channel for a long time. Some of you guys have been around for a while. A lot of people are new, but a lot of people, there's a lot of supporters to the channel that have been around for years. And I thank you guys so much. Being able to put up with my little shenanigans and different things like that. But it was good to see a video of yours again. Still do lives, come join. Yes, I know you do still do lives. I'm just so busy most of the time. I used to watch lives all the time. It's just so hard to catch them nowadays because I'm cleaning. Like right before I did this, I was cleaning out all these guys. And when I'm done filming this video, we're going to clean the rest of the southern toads, go clean the tree frogs, and feed the tree frogs. We'll probably feed some of the toads later on tonight as well. And then baby ball pythons. Oh my gosh, those guys are so messy. They're constantly tipping over the water bowls, and those need to be fed tonight as well. So again, thank you guys so much for watching today's live stream. I'm going to watch this back. Hopefully this was a good test. Hopefully the audio sounds good, and you could put up with my scratchy voice because I am sick. Hopefully the visuals look decent, and I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream right now. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.